Welcome. I'm Jill Verschure from the MBA. I thank you for attending today's webinar, ELT Coming to Michigan, DealerTrack Support for Lenders. This webinar is co-sponsored by MBA Service Corporation and DealerTrack Cox Automotive, who is an MBASC endorsed partner. As you're aware, March 16, 2021, the Michigan Department of State will be initiating the Electronic Lien and Title ELT program. A little history: in the summer of 2016, and yes, it's nice to be ahead of schedule, right? The MBA Service Corporation named DealerTrack as our endorsed partner to assist our members in handling all ELT transactions, including adding, releasing, and removing vehicle liens. Today, we're pleased to have Robert Christini and Marguerite Marticus here with us from DealerTrack Cox Automotive. During this webinar, if you have any questions, please place them into the chat. At the end of the webinar, Marguerite will share questions for Robert's responses. If there are any questions that we don't have time for during the allotted period, Robert will contact you directly. We will email the presentation and the recording of today's webinar to all members within the next couple of days. And with that, I'll briefly share a bit about Marguerite and Robert. Marguerite Marticus is Cox Automotive's Lender Solutions Marketing Manager, and she's nearing 7 years with the company. She supports Robert and others across his team with bringing new products to the market and with creating awareness of Cox Auto's full loan lifecycle solutions for lenders. Robert Christini is a senior lender solutions expert at Cox Automotive and celebrates 16 years with them. His knowledge and experience in the financial and automotive industries are substantial, and his expertise in the full F&I workflow between lenders and dealers and the subsequent collateral management needs for lenders has made him the trusted ally to DealerTrack's 1,600 plus lender partners. To help us better understand ELT and how DealerTrack can help you, I would like to turn the stage to Robert. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jill. Excited to be here with the group, the Michigan Bankers Association. We're excited to be the endorsed provider and bring to you the electronic lien and title program that other states currently have in play. So what I'll be kind of going through today is a little background on DealerTrack Cox Automotive. I'll walk you through the Michigan Bankers and how the electronic lien and title program will come in effect, and will tie into how you're doing things from a collateral perspective. And then I'll kind of walk through kind of a full solution of other areas that DealerTrack can help you with as far as collateral management. So with that, I'm going to bring up my screen now. Everyone should start to be able to see the PowerPoint presentation, and I will get started. So let me know when you can see it. Jill, can you confirm that the PowerPoint is now on the screen? Perfect. All right, so I want to give everyone a little bit of a background on DealerTrack. So DealerTrack was a company called FBI Collateral Management and a company called Vintech. They were the two largest competitors in the collateral management space. Both of them actually founded the electronic lien and title program in 1990 with the state of California. And around 5 to 6 years ago, both FBI and Vintech were actually acquired by DealerTrack. So now within DealerTrack, you are now the largest collateral management agent in the industry, servicing roughly 7,500 lenders nationwide, banks, credit unions, financial institutions, and managing roughly 65 million titles under management. So I'm going to talk a lot about the electronic lien and title program with you today. And you can probably hear a lot of different acronyms out there around electronic lien and title. You'll hear ELT, e-titles, electronic titles. But the core of what the electronic lien and title program offers is the state receiving your lien application, processing that electronic title, and then delivering in an electronic format. So rather than a paper title like many states that are being received, or in Michigan's situation in RD 108, you'll now receive the title electronically, where you'll be able to log into a web-based platform, view the electronic title, and manage that title in electronic format. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions, and I'm sure you may think this even joining this call today, is that it is electronic lien placement, meaning that you can electronically file your liens online. That is not the case. So I always like to kind of squash that right off the bat, right? So you'll still place your liens the same way you're doing it today. The difference is really the back-end processing on receiving those electronic notifications, managing those electronic titles within your database, and then eventually releasing that title when the loan pays off. And I'll kind of walk you through that as we get going through the presentation. Now, in 2016, believe it, 5 years ago, Michigan passed legislation enacting the development of an electronic lien and title program for the state of Michigan. So we're very excited. We are one of the 2 chosen vendors to be the pilot for the electronic lien and title program that will go into effect March 16th. Don't panic. You don't have to be enrolled right at March 16th. So you as a lender in the state of Michigan, you're really going to have several options. You can enroll in our electronic lien and title program and start out the process immediately with the ELT process. You can use a state-driven website where you can access the state website to verify lien information, or you can continue to operate the same way that you're doing now. Now, I'm going to kind of bring up how this electronic lien and title process works. So if you start to the far left of the screen, kind of as I was saying in the beginning there, the lien placement process does not change. So if you're in the indirect space and the dealers are typically responsible for placing the lien, or in the direct space where, typically the consumer or maybe the branch network is responsible for placing the lien, that process will continue. The only difference will be is you'll be issued an ELT code when you enroll in the state's electronic lien and title program. And then that ELT code will be placed when you're on the applications when submitting your lien. So if we kind of follow along the happy path and we go to the top where it says yes, and the state receives all the necessary paperwork and they start to process it behind the scenes, they'll verify that you're an electronic lien and title lien holder. They'll route and batch all the electronic lien and titles they receive in your name in a given day, and they'll send it to us in an automated file. So that way, when you log into our database the next day, all the electronic titles that were received the day before will now be available to you to view that electronic title in our database. Now, if you're not an electronic lien and title lender, then it goes down that kind of bottom path. So the state will verify, no, this lender is not involved in the electronic lien and title program, and will continue down the same process that it does today. The RD 108 gets issued, and the title still will go out to the consumer. So if we think holistically and we take a look across the United States of the electronic lien and title program, you'll see by this color-coded map, there's a lot of electronic states that are available to lenders today. So I'm going to kind of start first with the dark blue states. What does the dark blue mean? These are mandatory electronic lien and title states. And maybe some of you have run into these situations before. But in the mandatory electronic lien and title states, the state will actually reject your lien placement if you're not enrolled in their electronic lien and title program. So if we take an example of Pennsylvania, you have a consumer that moves to Pennsylvania and you need to retitle and they have to register in the state in the Pennsylvania. If you're not enrolled in their electronic lien and title program, they'll reject a lien placement. They'll give you the instructions on how to enroll in the electronic lien and title program, and that will be the only way to get your lien recorded. So you can see from the dark blue, that is a growing trend. Pennsylvania started it in 2018, and then it's been quickly adapting ever since. Typically, the normal process is the state will roll out a voluntary electronic lien and title program, and then after a certain period of time, it will move to this mandatory status. So we also have green states, and that kind of falls within that voluntary process. So in the green states, you either have the option to enroll in their electronic lien and title program, or you have the process to continue to receive paper titles, just as that lender is doing it today. Now, there are more and more states looking to come on board with the electronic lien and title process. As you kind of see, I highlighted Michigan. It takes time. As you saw from the previous screen, we said in 2016, legislation was passed to enable an electronic lien and title program. And it does take time. It takes IT resources to enable the process. So it does take time for these DMVs to implement the program, but I do believe there will be an acceleration of the states in white offering the electronic lien and title process because of COVID, right? Everyone's looking to move to more of a digital experience. A lot of state DMVs or DOSs were closed during the COVID timeframe. With the electronic lien and title program, a lot of the states can still process paperwork electronically. Titles can still be issued from the state database electronically if they enable an electronic lien and title process. So I think you'll quickly see a lot of the states in white that don't have an ELT program or not on the horizon quickly work to enable an electronic lien and title program. But we're excited. Michigan is now moving to the electronic lien and title status. The great thing is we are set up in all the electronic states that you see on the screen today. So you can enroll in your specific state of Michigan, or you can enroll in all the states that are highlighted with a color. Every state has a little bit different of an implementation process. Typically, there's a specific application that needs to be filled out during the implementation phase to enroll in the state's electronic lien and title program. But we will help facilitate that for you. And that way, any of the states that you're doing business in, all those titles will funnel back into our title tracking system. So let's talk a little bit about Michigan and SOS. I showed you on the previous screen, right? Any of the states highlighted in that dark blue are offering that mandatory electronic lien and title program. So as I said, you have to be enrolled in the ELT program to be able to place a lien. Michigan is in discussions with also making it a mandatory practice that all lenders that record liens within the specific state will need to enroll in the electronic lien and title program. As I said, that is a growing trend. I think it's easier for the SOS and the DMVs across the country that if they offer an ELT program to have all the lien holders set up within that process. That way, everything is in an electronic format and no paper titles are produced. So as I said, Michigan is working towards that, but it is not mandatory starting March 16th. So that is a voluntary enrollment at that point in time. And then they'll work towards a date that will be mandatory, which will obviously be communicated out to the entire state. So let's get a little bit more granular. Let's dive into the actual electronic lien and title functions within the state of Michigan. So I'm going to highlight the availability and ELT functions you have in Michigan, but I do want to let you know that every state has a little bit different ELT process. So these will be very similar in other electronic states. But Michigan will have a few different things that you can do that maybe another electronic state you cannot. I believe Michigan has really put together a strong ELT presence with the different functionality that they're allowing to offer to the ELT program, which will obviously benefit you as being a lien holder within the state. So I'll kind of go one by one here. The first one is a lien notification. And really what this is allowing is the state sending a notification to our platform showing that a lien's been recorded. So this is receiving that title in electronic format rather than receiving a paper title or a paper notification showing that you are listed as lien holder. The state will also allow lien releases. So when that loan pays off, eventually a title needs to be produced and sent out to the consumer showing that there is no lien attached. So you'll have that availability to release your lien electronically right within our database. From there, that instructs the state SOS to produce a clear title and then mail it out to the location that you specify. You have lien release with refinance. I really wish every state would offer this process. So in instances where the loan has been paid off by another lender, rather than producing a paper title for the next lender to then place their lien tied to it, that every lender will have the availability, if it's an electronic title, to release the lien and have that title be sent to the next lender that has actually paid off your loan, right? So no paper title needs to be produced. and then the refinance and the title will then end up in the new lender's database. The big caveat there, right, is the other lender needs to be on the electronic lien and title program. If the lender that has paid it off is not, then this process will not work. You have paper title request with lien. So what does that mean? So there's going to be instances where you need a title with your lien still attached. Or a lot of reasons for that are repossessions, or your consumer moves to a new state and they need that title to get their car registered in that new state. You will still have the opportunity to request the title with lien still attached and have it sent directly back to your address or the consumer's address. So that way that transaction can occur, right? That repossession can be handled with the necessary repossession title work, or that consumer can move to the new state and get their vehicle registered. Lien and title update. So as you know, there's going to be times that things need to be updated on the current title that is housed electronically. The necessary paperwork will still need to be submitted into the state. And from there, that lien and title information will be automatically updated within the electronic lien and title process. Reject and delete lien. So there are times that you may receive a title showing you as lien holder where you don't have an active loan, right? It may have been placed in your name by accident by possibly a dealer. You have the availability to actually go in and reject that lien placement, which basically sends that rejection back to the state database, and then the state will see and try and match it up to the appropriate lien holder. You have delete lien. That really ties back to when your consumer trades in their vehicle to a dealership. Rather than the dealership producing a paper title at that point in time, that title can be held in an electronic format until that title gets released or redistributed to another location. And then the last one is title inquiry. So title inquiry allows you to, at any time, run an inquiry against the state's database to verify if there is a lien holder on a specific title, right? So really does it scrape against the state's database to verify, does the registered owner currently have a lien against that vehicle? So you can see a number of different options within the state of Michigan. These are all great options for the electronic lien and title program. And these do tie back to most of the other electronic states that offer an ELT program. Moving on, so let's talk about some transaction notes. So I know a lot of questions we fielded with whenever we implement a new electronic state. There are options where you're allowed to have that title print and mailed to a specific state, and you'd have to enter in a third-party address. So with most of the release requests or print title options within the platform, you will have the availability to enter in a third-party address of where you want that title sent. And then you always have the opportunity when you run that inquiry, it will bring back the owner's name, address, the lien holder name and address, the title information, the brand, if it is a branded title, MSRP, weight, odometer, and if it's a paper or currently an electronic title within their database. Fees, obviously there's a fee for DealerTrack if you elect to enroll in our electronic lien and title program, but there are also the state fees. For the lien release fee, $1 applies only to non-watercraft vehicles. And then the option I showed you around lien release with refinance, the state still wants to collect their lien placement fee. So that $15 plus the state release fee, you will have a $16 charge if you elect to do the lien release with refinance. Now, I want to talk a little bit about our total title solution. So obviously, we spent a lot of time talking about Michigan, the Michigan process, how things will work within the electronic lien and title program in the state of Michigan. But we do have a total title solution, which will really bring together all the states that have different titling practices and combine them into our portfolio. So you have 24 states that offer an electronic lien and title process. You have 26 states that are still doing paper. All of that can funnel back into DealerTrack title management program. So you'll see on my screen now, I'll just kind of give you a little highlights. As I said in the beginning, we manage roughly 60 million titles today. Half of those are electronic titles. Half of those are physical paper titles we have stored in our titling vault. We have 2 titling operational facilities. We have one in Sacramento, California. We have one a little bit closer to you in Wilmington, Ohio, which is in between Cincinnati and Columbus. And with both of those facilities, we can roughly hold 50 million paper titles. So a lot of opportunity for growth. DealerTrack handles around 7,000 lenders today. As I was saying, banks, credit unions, financial institutions. I think one of the biggest stats, and I think you'll see why people rely on DealerTrack, is 22 of the top 25 lenders completely outsource their entire title portfolio to DealerTrack. Now, as you think about the whole titling process, right, I think if I asked your bank what your core competency is really probably around, member satisfaction, opportunity for growth, ways to streamline a lot of the processes that you have in place today. I wouldn't believe at your bank, one of your core competencies is title management. So that's where really DealerTrack comes in. It's a very inefficient process, right? Every DMV has a little bit different of a titling practice, different operational features that the DMVs allow. We understand the business. We have a 50-state title management solution. So we can come in and kind of be your back office. We can facilitate all of your electronic and paper titles, and then allow you to kind of drill down and report on it, but allow us to handle those day-to-day activities. And you can just really manage it from a manager standpoint with some of the exceptions that could possibly occur with your portfolio. So what I'll do is just kind of touch on some of these additional features you can add on to the electronic lien and title program. The first one is really around title receipt verification and securitization, which is managing of physical paper titles. We can follow up for non-receipt of title, right? Because now if we're being your ELT vendor for the state of Michigan, instead of you following up with the dealership or the member that was responsible for placing the lien, you have the availability now for DealerTrack to follow up directly with that dealership to get the lien recorded. We have payoff and end of lease transactions. So now that we're managing your electronic titles or possibly physical paper titles, we can handle all the back end of release processing on your behalf. And then all the fun stuff that comes up with managing a portfolio, the title maintenance activities, the state changes, the name changes, the title corrections. DealerTrack can actually handle all of them through our total title solution. So quickly, I'm going to tie in how we manage your physical paper titles, because what you'll see is when you enroll in an electronic lien and title program, even if you just are in the state of Michigan, your new business obviously would come back through the electronic lien and title program. But you may have the opportunity to convert over your current paper titles for DealerTrack to handle. So what we could do is set up a dedicated PO box. You would send all of your physical paper titles that you're storing today to that PO box. We will scan, image, and then upload those paper titles so they're viewable within our title tracking system. But you would know that that physical paper title is being stored by DealerTrack and stored in our title vault until that loan pays off. I'm sure you're wondering, why would we do this? Why would we want to send you the paper titles? Well, now you'll have one title tracking system in place, right? All new electronic titles will funnel into the electronic lien and title program, but you'll also have those physical paper titles stored within our process. So you'd be able to log into our platform, you'd be able to run reports, not only just identifying electronic titles, but as well as all the paper titles that you may have handled in the past. And it does a great reconciliation of your existing portfolio, so you know exactly where your portfolio stands at any given point in time. I talked a little bit about follow-up for non-receipt of title, right? So if we're managing your electronic titles and your paper title database, there's going to be times when you don't receive a title, right? Maybe that dealership never recorded your lien. Well, because you're entering your information into our platform, we can do different follow-up activities on your behalf. So the big thing that we do for a lot of our lenders today is we produce delinquent title follow-up letters. Those letters go out on your letterhead, and they go out to the consumer or possibly the dealership that was responsible for recording your lien. We also do inbound, outbound call activity. So those letters obviously are going to produce some questions at time. So we can actually facilitate those phone calls. We can answer any title related questions. We can update the notes section of the platform. And then that way we kind of become your title call center for any questions that your consumers may have. We also can do outbound call activities. So a lot of our lenders will set up the 2 delinquent title follow-up letters. Then the third process is actually making a phone call to the dealership to try and get your lien recorded. The beauty of this, it all ties back to our titling tracking system. So at any time you can see any of the follow-up activities that are occurring, what type of follow-up has occurred. It all ties back to a notes section so you can see exactly what's occurred at any point in time. And we also do the release process. Something we do that I believe is a nice touch with the electronic lien and title release is when you release the title as part of the electronic lien and title program, we send that notification to the state, and then the state will produce a clean title and mail it out to the location that you specify. Either the consumer's address, maybe a third-party address, maybe even a dealership that's paid it off. Well, while you're doing that, we also produce an ELT release letter. That ELT release letter can get sent directly to the consumer's address, just letting them know that it's been released as part of the electronic lien and title program. And please look to receive a physical paper title directly from the DMV or SOS within the next 3 to 5 business days. Just a nice little touch to show exactly what's required in the electronic lien and title program. Physical paper titles, we're actually pulling that physical paper title we have stored in our title vault. We're executing based on state requirements. We're putting that in an envelope. We're sending it out through USPS, and we can send it to any location you specify within our title tracking system. You do always have the availability. I know there's going to be times that you need that title next day. If it's in a paper title format, we'll actually be able to put that paper title into a FedExing envelope, and we can overnight it to any location you specify. And then title maintenance. As I always say, the nuisance of managing a title portfolio. There are going to be times when your consumers move to states, they're going to have to get married, and they're going to have to change the name on the title possibly. Those all come up after the fact, after the loan's been funded, typically a lot of times after the title's been received. Rather than you now having to handle those requests on your own, you'll be able to go directly within our platform. You'll be able to select the type of title maintenance you'd like us to perform. We will produce all the necessary documentation. We will send it out to any state that requires the title. We'll also follow up from the state DMV or SOS to make sure we receive back the title, listing you necessarily as lien holder on that specific account. So all those tedious processes of title maintenance, you now can allow DealerTrack to handle on your behalf. And the last thing I wanted to touch on is just our accelerated title program. The great thing with this is a free product. We actually tie in to all of our full outsourcing clients. And really what we did is we built out an automated process for dealer trade-ins. So what we continually heard from dealerships and from lenders is the time it takes from when one of your consumers goes in and trades in their vehicle till they actually receive the title can take anywhere from 10, 15, even upwards of 30 days, depending on the lender. So what we did is kind of combined our 4 key criterias of our title management and our DealerTrack unified platform. We're able to kind of simplify and streamline it through this accelerated title process. So what we allow our consumers and dealers and lenders to do is if your consumer looks to trade in their vehicle, the dealer is able to actually go right into the DealerTrack portal, and they're able to pull a real-time payoff quote directly within our platform. I'm sure you're wondering, how would they know that information? What we set up with our lenders is an automated file that's sent to us on a daily basis of all your payoff amounts. That way, rather than fielding phone calls or accessing an IVR system, all that dealer is really doing is going directly within the DealerTrack unified system, and they're able to immediately pull that payoff quote directly within the platform. We also will give them the digital title view. So now that we manage your electronic titles or possibly your physical paper titles, we'll actually show them the paper title or the electronic title we have stored on your behalf. Transparency, dealers just don't have today, right? They don't know, if you have that title in your possession, is it out for a state change? Is it possibly unperfected? So we're giving that upfront presence to the dealer that if they take in this trade, they can get that title in an expedited fashion. We tie in our ACH process. If you think about it today, that you're receiving a check from the dealer that your consumers traded it into. A lot of times, and it's a huge issue in our industry, the dealer will send you the wrong amount, right? So that they send you the wrong payoff amount. And either you're chasing down that dealer for the exact payment, or if it's a certain threshold, a lot of lenders say, if it's under $50, we'll just write it off as part of doing business. Through this process in ACH, we're deducting the exact payment directly from the dealer's bank account and depositing to you a penny perfect payment. So now you eliminate any of those short pays and overpays. And then the last piece of this is really the expedited release. So what we'll do for your electronic titles is we'll go into the system, we'll release that electronic title, we'll mail it directly to the dealer that's actually paid it off. You don't have to key in any third-party release information. And that way it becomes now an expedited processing. You're not manually releasing that title within the platform. You're not keying in third-party release information. We're handling all that on your behalf. So that 15 to 30-day process through accelerated title is now brought down as little as 4 to 6 business days. We know it works. We've done over 650,000 transactions today, paid off roughly $9.9 billion in loans. And again, this is a free solution that you can utilize if you move forward with DealerTrack's electronic lien and title program. Now, I know I've just thrown a lot at you in the 30 minutes we've been together. We're excited to partner with Michigan Bankers Association to bring to the electronic lien and title program. As you can see, there's a lot of benefits to now having an electronic notification rather than dealing with physical paper title storage. You know exactly where your portfolio stands. It is a web-based program that you'll have access to. So you'll be able to log in and view your entire title activity within the system. And you'll be able to manage that through our web-based program and eventually release the lien when that loan pays off. What I'd love to do now is, I know throughout the presentation, Jill had kind of said if you had questions around the Michigan electronic lien and title program, any of the other electronic lien and title states, or even around what DealerTrack offers from a total title solution, to put that into the chat section. So I will ask Marguerite if there is any questions and answers that she's received, and I can answer them on your behalf.
Thanks, Robert. I'm back. And yes, we do have a number of questions that have come in, and I'm just going to read them off in the order that they came in. I think some might be a review of things that you covered in the deck, and some are going to be brand new questions.
Okay.
First question is, do you have a vendor due diligence packet available for us in regards to security, audits, etc.? So can you explain how we would share that information with the Michigan?
Great question, right? So dealing with 7,500 lenders, you can imagine the amount of due diligence we need to have in place. So all we need from you would be a signed mutual non-disclosure agreement, and we can facilitate out all of our due diligence package. It gives you all the information that you'll need, and typically that your compliance team's looking for whenever you're onboarding a new vendor.
Great. Okay, next question is there a pricing breakout on state fees and ELT fee? Is it separate, or do we have to put it all in the APR?
Great question. So there is a fee for DealerTrack, right, for each title that's received. So we will invoice you individually for those. And then we have something called what's a state pass-through fee. So we kind of itemize out sometimes when the state will actually charge a fee as part of the electronic lien and title program. That's tied to every vendor that's set up within the specific state. So they will be passed through on the invoice that we would send to you, but it would show as a pass-through fee on the invoice. So you'd have a DealerTrack fee and then a state pass-through fee.
Great. Next question. How long does it take to get signed up, and who do we contact?
Great, that's a great question. So my name is Robert Christini. As I said in the beginning, I'm going to bring up the next screen here. So this is all of my contact information. I am the Senior Lender Solutions Expert tied to the state of Michigan. So I can help you get enrolled within the state with the specific state applications. You would also need to sign an agreement with DealerTrack. DealerTrack agreement is a simple 4 or 5 page agreement, and that will go through the pricing and kind of service offering and what ties to the electronic lien and title program. So if you reach out to me directly, I can put together the due diligence package. I can send over our agreement, so that way you can see the fees and everything ties back to the enrollment process. Just to be clear with everyone, it is about a 30-day implementation period. from the time the contract signed to you're actually going live with the state. The reason for that is we'll enroll you in all the electronic states that you'd like to get enrolled in. So as you can see, there's 24 that you can take advantage of. We also will set up a time for training. So we'll do training with your team to walk you through the ins and outs of the platform, how things work, the different release options that you have by state, as well as the different reports that we always recommend that you pay attention to. And then we kind of pick that go live together on when you can start receiving electronic titles in our platform.
Great. Thanks, Robert. Last question that I see in our chat and Q&A so far. So if anyone has more questions, please keep typing in. But this question is around multiple users per bank. So the question is, does each user get a separate login information or is it shared? The state indicated to go directly through them, but we could only have one login and password. Our bank has concerns with sharing any type of login information for tracking purposes and backup purposes as well.
Great question. So you're right. The state has a web-based program that you can log into. They allow one user, and think about it, you'd have to log into that database every day to see if your liens have been placed and trying to access that, which can really turn into kind of an Excel nightmare, trying to keep track of what's been placed, what hasn't been placed, and following up. The difference with us is everything's funneled directly into our platform. So you log in, you'd see all the titles have been received on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. You have full tracking and reporting around it. And you're allowed to have as many users as you'd like on the platform. Users can have different permission levels. So we know that some of our lenders have call centers that maybe need access to the system so they can view title information, but they don't want to have the availability to release liens. Or you can have someone with kind of that full, super admin rights. They can update, change, and obviously release liens within the platform. So no fees for users, so you can have as many users as you'd like on the platform.
Great. Those are all the questions that I've seen come through. We're happy to stay on to answer more questions if anyone has.
I have not seen any
Yeah,
more.
Jill, I was just going to say I'm excited. I think it's a long time coming for the state of Michigan. As we saw, it went all the way back to 2016. Now we're a few weeks away from the state enabling the electronic lien and title process. We're excited to be one of the 2 vendors that was chosen to kind of pilot the electronic lien and title program. And I really believe that eventually a lot of these states are going to offer ELT programs as well as mandate the process, right? The states are getting out of the business of issuing paper titles to show that you have a lien perfected. In today's digital age, it's much easier to send that information electronically through a secure FTP. So I think that's the way you'll see a lot of these states move, and we're going to be here to help you through that transition and that process by offering the electronic lien and title program. So Jill, I'll hand this back to you. If anybody has any questions, as I said, all my contact information should be on the screen. Give me a call, send me an email. I can answer whatever you need. Like I said, if you'd like to see the agreement with DealerTrack and to enroll in this program, just let me know your contact information and your monthly volume, meaning how many new liens you place on a monthly basis. And I can send you back all of our due diligence as well as contracting to get set up.
Thank you very much, Robert and Marguerite, for the information sharing today. Thank you, bankers, for spending time with us this afternoon. Just wanted to make you aware for updates on ELT information. The MBA has an ELT website page under our compliance tab and then electronic lien and title. This page includes ELT question and answers, state of Michigan application, includes our MBA staff liaison, Debbie Mitten's contact information, as she is our direct connection to the Secretary of State. DealerTrack solution for ELT is explained on their website. I did send the website link to you, and I will include both of the links to the MBA's information and DealerTrack's with the presentation and the webinar recording in a couple days. I will send those to all of our members. So I hope for a great rest of your day. If we may help with anything, please let us know. We appreciate your time and thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. It was our pleasure.
Thanks, everybody.